Welcome to the Bird Gang Nation Sports Media Show, repping the greatest team of all time. Let's go! Bird Gang 31, he be the host with the most. We going deep, burning teams. They ain't nothing but toast. It's Senior Estes. Sirianni put me in coach, running like Miles Sanders till I bump my head on the post. Touchdown! Yeah, that's coming. Devontae's crazy route running. Jalen hurting them, throwing lasers to break a young gunning. Come on! On the D side, we ride, sack him with Fletcher, lay him out on the stretcher. No one can protect you. Watch Darius sling him, shutting down your routes. Come on! In my green John, eating Philly cheesesteaks. Put up your cups, wings up, if you can relate. Tailgating at the link like Gangsta Stride. To the Bird Gang Nation, that's worldwide. On Sundays, catch the pre and post game. Mondays is Birds on Broad Street with Philly Notion and Cool Cat, the man in motion. And Wednesdays, the midweek special got you open with JC from Eagles Talk, hitting like B-Dog, baby.
Welcome to another edition of Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, Bird Gang 31. Today, Nation, we have a very special guest in the house. It is Tim from Online Big Blue Sports Entertainment. How you doing today, my guy?
I am doing well. You know what? And I've said it once before. I am shocked that Philly fans know how to use computers. I mean, I didn't know that was. I mean, I've been to the link, man. You guys can't park. You can't get a good cheesesteak. You got Patch, you got Garrett's, but you can't get a good cheesesteak in the link. You know, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I just had to get that off my chest right away.
He came in rough. All right, I see where we're going with it. Shots fired. Go ahead and let everybody know about, Online Big Blue and how it came about, and
Well, Online Big Blue's we've been around for about 2 years now. Didn't really want to ever do YouTube. So, but I had some people, a person that wanted to do YouTube, and then we did a show, then he backed out. And I've done some things in the sports. I've actually worked in the NFL for 2 teams. I worked in the AFL last with the Philadelphia Soul. I also played in college. So, I mean, it's been an experience that I always like talking about football. I always have a different perspective or take, because when I do a giant video, I don't do it with the fan hat on. I do it and I take a step back and look at the team from a logical perspective and actually see what's going on, instead of just saying, you know what, we're 3-7, but we're the best damn 3-7 team that there ever was on this planet.
Right. What did you do for the NFL by chance, if you don't mind?
I started in Tampa in 2003, and I actually worked basically charting film. There was a system back in 2003 called the XOS Digital System, which was it was bleeding edge technology at the time. And what it allowed you to do was it allowed coaches to view film at any time during and after practice, because it sat on a server. And you got to remember, 2003, this was the bleeding edge of the internet, so this was all high tech shit. I mean, now it's just like you can go on YouTube and watch anything, but before, you had to download the videos. You had to go put it on the server so they could literally watch it at any time and view it in meeting rooms. And I started on the tech side, but then they noticed I had a football background. So then I started doing basically charting plays and, and tendencies for the coaching staffs.
Nice. You're pretty experienced with all this film watching, my guy.
Yeah, a little bit. I haven't done it in years. And like I said, my big thing is, I'm not a guy that likes watching content of film creators on YouTube or any other channels, because of the fact that you really can never give a proper aspect of viewing film. And that comes from my experience, because you don't know the plays, you don't know the formations, you don't know the substitutions, you don't know the line shifts, you don't know any of this. And I had a great subscriber tell me, you know what the thing is with film reviewers on YouTube is they overstate the obvious. Yeah. And I didn't think about it. And he's like, oh my God, you're right. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And like for me, I don't even try to, to go into film breakdowns and whatnot. I leave that for the guys that got the time for it.
Exactly.
Do your feel. I'm just gonna let you know what I seen on TV. And that's what I'm talking about. So, Giants, are they where you expect them to be? What was your whole outlook for the season this year, and how has it changed since the season started?
I was one of the few Giant YouTubers that predicted them to win 6 to 7 games.
Okay.
I did not like the construct of the roster. I was not a big Kenny G fan. When a wide receiver won't leave the building and he's still trying to get a contract out of you, that tells me he has no other teams interested in him, and the Giants overpaid for him. Same with Adoree Jackson. And I've said it a million times, you go outside.
I'm a USC fan. Adoree's my guy.
Well, you know what? You go outside the Giant bubble, no one could figure out how you would pay a cornerback coming off an ACL and give him a raise. That's logical sense would have been that you gave him a 1-year prove-it deal, but instead we gave him Zach Attack. What's up, my friend? Instead, we gave him money for what he could be. So like I said, I always go from the perspective of, what the Giants are and what they really are, but I don't do it from a fan perspective. I do it from the logical perspectives outside. And like I said 6 to 7 wins right off the bat, and I've stuck with that. I always tell people, if you really want to get a true sense of your organization, go to Vegas, because Vegas's job is to make money. So you see how many, you see how much money that they are betting, or what their win totals are, and that usually gives you a pretty good idea of where your organization is going to be.
Oh, nice. Good tips. I like it. Let's start breaking them down, though. Before we go into this matchup, tell me, what do you think happened with the last game you guys played here on Monday night?
We played Tampa. we played the world champs. I'm not one of these Giant fans that thought everything was Jason Garrett's fault, because I think Daniel Jones has his own issues. I did a video a week ago, and Zach in the chat brought it up, where I actually said I thought Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, and I would rather have Jalen than Daniel Jones. So I mean, that is not from, that is just from a perspective of a football point of view, not a team, organization, or a fan point of view. And so I had a feeling, I predicted the Giants were going to lose 35-15, I think. And I said I thought they were going to get blown out in the third. It was going to be close, and then the third quarter, the wheels were just going to fall off the bus. When you don't have an offensive line, when you go against the aggressiveness of a Todd Bowles defense, you're not going to win with that parameters. And when you're not focusing on your skill positions and you're not targeting Kenny G more than twice, there's an issue. And the issue is, it wasn't always play calling. It's the fact that, and I always give a shout out to Kurt Warner, the former Hall of Fame quarterback. He did a great video after the Giants lost to Washington, and he broke down Daniel Jones's game in 14 minutes. And the first 2 minutes was all about Jason Garrett, what he didn't do. The other 12 minutes was about what Daniel Jones was not doing correctly. And the problem is that was early in the season, and he's still doing the same things. And your defense can't sit on the field and allow 18-play drives.
Yeah.
If you can't get off the field, especially against Tom Brady, you're going to get killed. And if you keep playing in a too deep zone, and you're looking at the fact that he is going short over and over, they're taking one step off the line. He's popping.
He did it to us. He did it to us too. Our coach did that 2-zone thing.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
We
just started blitzing and manning up a little bit more.
That's what you need to do. Their Giants did not want to get burned by the big play, so they decided to keep everything in front of them. But the problem was, to their detriment, they could never get off the field.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest flaw of the Giants? Do you think it's the offensive line? Do you think it's Daniel Jones? Do you think it's because Saquon's always hurt? What do you think it is that the offense isn't as, productive as it should be with some of those names on there?
I'm going to say yes, yes, and yes. I mean, I don't think Saquon. Yes, Zach is always calling him a track coach, Joe Judge, because he thinks he should be a track coach because he acts like one sometimes. I think Saquon is not injury prone. I think he's just bad luck with his injuries because of the fact that your first year you had second year, I should say, you had the ankle injury. Could anyone. You tear your ACL on a non-contact, so that's a fluke, and then you roll your ankle off a bad pass. So if he has just had bad luck, but he needs to stay on the field consistently. Our offensive line is bad to a point, but Daniel Jones holds on to the ball way too long. I call him the mad patter because you can watch on Sunday when he gets nervous and sitting in the pocket, he's got the ball like this and he's patting and he's patting and he's looking. And some people say, well, Peyton Manning used to pat the ball, but the problem was Peyton Manning would pat the ball once and throw. Daniel Jones is still processing, and his issue is he's not processing quickly enough to make a decisive throw, because we all know you throw your receivers open in this league.
Yeah.
You create the windows for them, and sometimes he just doesn't do that. So I would basically say all three. I mean, honestly, it's all three issues we have right now.
Okay. So you were on board with the firing of Jason Garrett?
I thought that it wasn't Jason Garrett's fault. I don't think all of it was Jason Garrett's fault. I rephrase that. There were things that, some of his play calls were questionable, but I've said this before with certain Giant fans. You're extolling the virtue of the first 6-7 weeks or so, how Daniel Jones was progressing and turning the corner. And then all of a sudden, but you're not giving any credit to the offensive coordinator for that. And then the Giants start winning and they put up 40 against, you put up 40 points against the Saints. But it's not the offense coordinator. It was all Daniel Jones. So my thing is this: he was a scapegoat, and I've said that a million times. I actually have a sound effect that I play on my channel all the time, which is basically Jason Garrett's scapegoat, because I knew 6 weeks ago he was going to get fired because of the fact that they need a sack. The Giants have always done this. They did it back with Jerry Reese. They've done it, after the Super Bowls. They get rid of their coaches. And they move on. They got rid of Kevin Gilbride. Then they turn around and, you get rid of, Spags, of course, left, and he had his failed attempt as a head coach in LA. Then, of course, they get rid of Tom Coughlin. Then you get rid of the general manager. It's always an excuse for someone else, and always someone is a sacrificial lamb. And that's what I get so mad about with the Giants, because I've been following this team since '76. And I've seen the good and I've seen the horrid. And right now we're kind of in the '70s desert of badness. And I'm just hoping we don't have another Miracle of the Meadowlands soon, because that's how that game
we need what, 4?
Yeah,
Miracle in Meadowlands 4.
4. Yeah,
with Devontae Smith, baby.
that's what I wear, and I still hate Deshaun Watts. I hate Deshaun Jackson still.
Man,
you drop the damn ball and you pick it up, and
that was like, you don't understand. I was in California, man. All my Cali friends are either San Francisco Cowboys. All the big teams, the Giants. I had my buddy that was the Giants. I was at his house. He had a nice little party, and we're sitting there, and we made this huge bet. And I was like, man, you guys are about to beat us. And he's like talking all this, all this mess at me, man. He was going off on me, and I was like, all right, man. I guess we lost. That's cool. And I literally turn around. You guys punch the ball, and I see Deshaun drop. I'm like, no, what are you doing? And he picks that sucker up and ran it all the way to the touchdown. I'm like, yeah.
How Matt Dodge kicked that ball into the middle of the field? I to this day, I still have no idea how you kicked that ball into the middle of the field.
Yeah, he took it to the house, man.
He did.
And I think we done, 3 Miracle in Meadowlands with you guys, huh?
Yeah.
You got the Deshaun had one. Westbrook, I think, had one.
Yep.
And then
the Herm Edwards one will always be the killer. Herm Edwards will always be the killer with Joe Pisarcik. And then the worst part is Joe Pisarcik, what does he do 2 years later? He goes to Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah, man. It's good times, man. Good times. Whenever you got these division games, though, it really doesn't matter the records. It really don't matter, who's hot, who's not. Any given Sunday with the division games, man. And we both got a lot of division games coming up at the end of the season, so we should see what happens. So, how do you see the Giants? How do you see the division shaping up at the end of the season? Just in general.
I still think it's of course it's going to be Dallas's division to lose. And I'm not. I know
November, December. Just what Dallas do.
Yeah, that's the problem though. And I don't think Washington's on a mini roll. So I think that's going to be interesting to say the least. What team that worries me right now in the division is the Eagles, to be honest, because you have the Giants, the Jets, Washington, the Giants, Washington, and Dallas. You basically have your entire division outside of the Jets. I mean, you could potentially win 6 of those games.
Facts.
And that worries. It doesn't worry me from our perspective because like I said, we're 3-7. We're not going anywhere.
Mhm.
But if I don't know which one I would hate more, that the Eagles would go on a run and take the division, or the Cowboys would win the division. I would rather have the St. Louis Cardinals come back into the division and win it than see either of you guys come in and win it.
So who do you hate more, Eagles or Cowboys?
That's a toss-up.
How's your pecking order go in the NFC East?
Here's the problem. I live in the greater Philadelphia area. I live in I'll say central Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. So I've been to the Link a bunch of the times. I've been to the Vet. I was, I remember going, I think it was 86, going and seeing the Raiders and the Eagles and sitting in the upper deck. Mm-hmm. And I've been to Dallas. I've been to both stadiums. And I will tell you right now, I literally hate both teams. It's if I had to choose who I would hate more, it would have to be Philly. Only because of the fact that the one thing that we had over you guys forever was the lack of a Super Bowl, was the lack of a ring. And then you guys go out and win the ring. And then when what's his name dressed up as a mummer, for the parade, I was like, wow, I really hate these guys right now. So I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to say it's Philly, man. But like I said, you make up for it with Geno's and Pat's. I'm a Geno's guy. I like the cheese whiz, the melted cheese whiz, because I used to go to Geno's all the time. So that's the one good thing you got going on.
I do love the cheese steaks.
And that's it, man. I mean, the Vet was a dump. Yeah, the Vet was a dump. But I love the Vet because I used to love it like the old Meadowlands. There are these concrete jungles. It's almost like you're going into a gladiator arena. Now it's like you're going into a corporate zone. And that was the hate is a strong word. No, I hate them. It's not a strong word. Hate's not. My mom always tells me you never should hate anybody, but I hate the Eagles.
I hate the Eagles. Why? Can we steal Devontae Smith from you?
I don't even want to talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, first of all, Dallas F you for what you did. And then the fact that you make that trade. And then I understood what the Giants did in reference to going out and making that trade with Chicago. I understood that. I got it. But for us to lose Parsons and Smith, I mean, I wanted Parsons so badly. And
you got Tony.
I am, first of all, Tony's got to stay on the field. Second of all, the nicest thing they could say about Tony, about his route running come out of college, was he was unique. Unique is a code word for scouts as he can't run routes. And you see that when he plays, but the problem is people are starting to figure out, and they did last week in Tampa, is stay at home with Tony. Keep him in front of you. Because he's going to juke. He's going to go to side to side. Keep him in front of you and wait till the cavalry comes. And he's got to learn to do more than that. And he's got to learn to get open consistently. And he's got to learn to stay on the field. And those are the big issues. Devontae Smith, man. I mean, I don't even want to talk about Devontae Smith. Cowboy fan, go away. Cowboy fan, 1992. Hate you.
He's happy because he didn't say the Cowboys, so he's happy about it. Yeah, this is a diverse. I have some Giant fans.
You have some Giant fans?
Some Eagle fans. I got some Cowboy fans. I got some, Washington football team fans. It's cool. We're a diverse family over here. Even though my team's the best, it's not like we can't be civil.
No, we can be civil because looking behind me, I still got 1, 2. I think I can count these out. I got 4. I got 4 behind me.
4 Super Bowls?
I got 4 trophies. You got 1.
We got 4.
We have 4 Super Bowls.
We have 4 trophies.
Well, you have one win.
Super Bowl, but
you have 1 win. When McNabb's not throwing up on the field,
we could have 5 if McNabb didn't choke.
That's an issue. And poor Jaworski is still looking at the Oakland Raiders going, what the hell just happened to here in 82? I mean, what the hell, man? So, we got 4 trophies behind me. So as long as you got 1 and I got 4,
we got 4 too.
No, you can't count going back. You can't count 1960. Well, then the Giants got 11.
Played more than 56 years, my God. But Green Bay counts theirs.
What was your last win?
Steelers count theirs.
1960 was your last trophy before the Super Bowl.
Wasn't it 64?
I thought it was 1960 with the
We won like 3 then.
We won how many in the 50s if you're going to count? So we have 11. I think we do have 11. We have 11 NFL championships, I think it is. The Super Bowls are what counts. Nobody cares about what goes on past 19.
No one cares but us. Okay. Like all the time we didn't have a Super Bowl, like we got 3 championships.
You got 3 championships. That's
okay,
what that's what you got to go with.
Part.
You got 3 championships and cheesesteaks.
Who won the Super Bowl last is what we're going to talk about. How long has it been since the Giants won a Super Bowl?
I don't remember. I'm sorry, my headphones cutting out. I can't hear what you're saying. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll be having that argument with the Cowboy fans. Like, hello?
The Cowboy fans shouldn't say anything.
26 years, my guy. Catch up. We're the last one until somebody else in the division win a Super Bowl.
That's true.
We're the cream of the crop.
That's true.
And we have the most division titles in the 2000s, like since 2010.
Yeah, that's true. And that and a cup of coffee gets you a cup of coffee. So Parsons will go to jail a few times before he was the ring. He never actually. Parsons evidently cleaned up his act. He had a kid coming out of Penn State. So
I'll change your mind.
Yeah, we had a coach that knew him on the Giants, and they said that he had really cleaned up his act his last season over at Happy Valley. Frank Gifford won championships. See, before the merger, greatest Giant of all time. I don't think it was Frank Gifford, but Frank Gifford is up there.
Yeah, I guess Frank. I know who Frank is. He did good. I'm just saying, like, either way you want to look at it.
Eagle laid him out and almost ended his career.
Yeah. Don't mess with us. We hurt people over here. We hurt people. So, Barkley, my guy. Barkley keeps getting hurt. Are you letting him go? You know, this is his 4th year.
Yeah, we're gonna. I would
give him the 5th-year option.
I assume I believe they've already picked up the 5th-year option.
5th-year option.
So he's guaranteed.
Say Barkley goes into next season.
We have the.
He gets hurt. Are you done with him?
If he goes in the next season, if he cannot stay healthy these next 6 games, and he goes in the next season and he doesn't play more than 12 games, I think you have to move on. I mean, right now, because he was a 2nd overall pick, he's paid $8 million a year guaranteed. So he's not. He gets paid? Yeah, that's it. But you also have to. He's actually paid.
Rookie deal. He's on the rookie deal still.
He's on his rookie contract, and then that's with salary. That's not with bonuses. He's actually I believe next year he'll be the 10th highest paid running back in the league. And if he
played like 12 games.
Yeah, and if he can't stay on the field, I mean, I'd hate to see him go, but I mean, you just have to. I mean, you have to move on. You can get a running back late in the draft. I wasn't against drafting him that high because, you know, he looked like he was a generational talent. And
he was that first year.
That first year he was, but until he can stay on the field, you know, you just got to do what you got to do, man. So like I said, and we have so many. I mean, our cap right now, we're almost in 2022. We're almost like the Philadelphia Eagles in regards to cap space. We never have any.
Oh,
I believe we're going to be. I think we have 43 players on the contract, and we have $211 million in salary against a projected $208 million cap space.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some issues coming up for us next year.
Some cuts.
Yeah. I don't know whom, but we'll have to wait and see.
You guys might have 2 top 10 picks. Are you drafting a quarterback?
Everyone that ever watches my channel knows that I'm drafting a quarterback. And I'm drafting a quarterback out of Liberty. I am taking Mr. Malik Willis. Out of Liberty. I am known as having a man crush on Malik Willis because to me he's a 21st century quarterback.
I haven't watched him that much lately.
He's had the last 3 games. He's had terrible games because he's gone up against he went up against Ole Miss, which was ranked 12th, and he went up against Louisiana, which was ranked 22nd. And he had some bad games, but you can't look at the stats because the Liberty team is horrid. They have no offensive line. They have no wide receivers. The one wide receiver that they had last year that was making big plays is dropping everything. They have no running backs and they have no defense, but somehow this kid's got his team at 7-4. And he has all the attributes and to me, the intangibles to being a 21st century quarterback. And I've always said this a million times. A 21st century quarterback needs to be like a point guard who can create his own shot. He's got to be able to move fluidly in the pocket. He's got to be able to run, but he's got to be able to look downfield. And when that option is not there, then you take off with some type of speed and and maneuverability. And that's something that he can do. I know a lot of people are high on Carroll and a lot of people are high on Pickett, but I'm telling you, man, it's going to be, I'm telling people, mark it down. Malik Willis, I call him Baby Vic. I see Randall Cunningham. Yep. I said I did a video about him.
Hey, don't be bringing up the GOAT in here. Don't be bringing up Cunningham and his GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the Eagle GOAT. Randall Cunningham, ain't nobody like him, okay?
No, and even poor Carl Banks is still looking when he whacked him. And how do you whack a guy, knock him off his feet, poor Carl Banks, and then he somehow lands back on his feet and scores a touchdown? I still remember that game back in 80 something. I can't remember. I think it was 86 or 87. I can't remember.
Said Willis or Hurts? Hurts, my guy. That's not even a question.
No, that I gotta go Willis.
That's not even a question. Willis is not gonna be anywhere close to Hurts. Okay, Hurts is, unless Willis is gonna be Heisman or at least runner up in Heisman or something like that. They don't even put him in the same category of Hurts, man. We're developing our core. Hurts is like top 10 all time in stats, and he's only played 15 games. In the first 15 games, he's played better than like every quarterback basically that ever played the game. No, like except for 8 of them, obviously. That's how you gotta look at it, right? If you say all time only player in first 15 games, that's you're 8th overall and yards and touchdowns, then that means you're doing the 8th best out of every quarterback that's ever came through the league. I'm
just looking in the background to see what you're drinking, because I think I want some of that.
You don't look at it that way?
No.
Like why? Like how do you not look at it that way?
I look at, like I said, I would pick Hurts over Daniel Jones, but I think the biggest thing about Hurts is the fact that he has the mobility. I mean, he just scored 3 touchdowns in one game, which was now a record for the Eagles. I mean, he has the mobility, but the problem is, if you look at quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson to me is light years ahead of Jalen Hurts, light years,
because of years. Like the things that everybody want to judge Hurts on is because he's just only played 15 games. You can't say that, you're looking for all this. It takes years to read defenses.
How many times have the wheels fallen off quarterbacks after their rookie season or after their second season? How many times have we seen that?
But he's only getting better.
I don't know if he's getting better yet. He's playing, and I've said this before, he's playing within himself right now. But if you make him do too much, or you put him in a position where he has to carry everything and be that guy, I don't see him doing that yet. And like I said, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. Keep going back to Oklahoma.
Like if you look at all the games, even the ones we lost, like we wouldn't even been in those games without Jalen Hurts.
But you know what the problem is with those games you lost? You still lost. So it doesn't matter how well your quarterback plays if you don't get the W.
I get it. Like he definitely needs some more development.
Yeah,
but that's what comes. Like the guy hasn't even played a whole full season yet, but people want to compare him to Lamar Jackson, Murray, all these guys have played seasons already. All these guys. That's what I'm saying. When you say first 15 games, top 10, that tells me that he's doing good, because there's been thousands of quarterbacks that play. From your Brady was a game manager for 3 years. From Russell Wilson did get a lot on his play his first year. Josh Allen sucked his first year, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mahomes wasn't Mahomes his first years. Like it took people years. You gotta see the defenses to know what you're gonna do against them. You know what I'm saying? Like we haven't seen every defense. If you haven't read every, coverage, you gotta do it, experience it first before you get, to elite status. Like I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league, you know what I'm saying? But I am saying top 10 all time. Like he's got a good start. He got a good start. Let's get him. He's on pace for 1,000 yards.
Let's get him into year 5.
On pace before we start saying top 10. On pace for 3,500 yards passing and 1,000 yards. That's pretty good for a first year start.
Well, he did start last year. So I mean,
like
you guys did bench him. Games. Oh, he played more than 2.5 games last year.
No, you can't count the Washington because he got taken out at halftime that game.
Well, you still got to count the game. He still played it.
No, he didn't even get a chance to play the whole game.
He still played in the game.
You got to count. You count the Saints game, the Cardinals game, and the Cowboys game.
Those are the games you're going to count.
Well, he was in half of the Green Bay game.
Yeah, he was in those games.
And he was in half of that game. So I guess if you want to say 4 games total, but really 3 games where he was starting, it was his game to win or lose.
All right, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one.
And plus, last year he didn't have no off season. It's COVID.
But everyone went through that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Now you sound like Giant fans. We had COVID. We had this.
All those other quarterbacks you could try to compare, even the rookies from last year, they had off seasons. You know what I'm saying? They got to go. You know, they got to go do their thing. You know, the years before he didn't have none of that stuff, and he wasn't even getting starting reps into the Saints game. And he did great last year, but I'm not even talking about last year. I'm talking about what he's doing this year.
Well, I agree about what he's doing this year, and like I said, but he has had some. You know, everyone extols the virtues. What he's got 13 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
He had some touchdowns in garbage time. In games that were
every quarterback gets garbage time.
I know, but listen, but if you want to project over your stats and say his statistics stack up the top 10, you have to look at the validity of the stats compared to how he had in losses. And I've said this a million times.
I agree that too.
I agree with that. I agree with the fact that if you have garbage, and there's Eli Manning used to get garbage touchdowns all the time.
Dak Prescott.
And they still Dak Prescott does the same
every
thing.
Quarterback do though.
But you can't compare that as a top 10 quarterback over his first X amount of games if you're still counting the garbage stats.
Yeah, because everybody had garbage time in their top 10 games.
I don't know about that because Eli Manning won a Super Bowl, from
in his rookie year.
Not his rookie year, but
exactly
a couple years later, and he's in his second season.
Yeah, but if you look at Eli's first 15 games, that's what you got to do. That's why I say when you do this comparison, that's what's so great about it. It's like no matter what, everybody had 15 games. So you're looking at everybody stacked 15 games through everybody throughout the history. You know what I'm saying? Like there's thousands of quarterbacks, whether they flopped later or they were great later, there's still those 15 first games. You know what I'm saying? And if you're telling me that if you compare his in those first 15 games and he's still 8th overall, that means he's got a good start. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna say
be the GOAT? Who knows?
I'm gonna say 2 words: Rick Myers.
What about him?
He was his first season in Seattle. he was you can't really compare the stats of the 90s to now, but his first season in Seattle, they thought they had something. And he started about 15 games. And then the league figured out a year and a half later that he couldn't throw left. And so they just stacked everything on one side, and then he became a career backup. I'm not saying that's happening with Jalen, but if you want to project over 15 games, so many different things that can, like I said, and I've been following the league since '76. I mean, I've seen the good, I've seen the bad. I've seen, I've seen quarterbacks that looked like world beaters 1 week and 1 year, and then the next year they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Thanks.
So, like I said, I just always tell people, and I tell Giant fans the same thing. Before you get overly excited about something, have it be consistent and then win consistently. You could be a consistent quarterback who doesn't win games. And that's what I always tell people. You want to have a consistency, but you also need the W's to back it up. And luckily for Jalen right now, like I said, he's getting the W's, and he's got, if you look at the rest of the East, he's probably got the softest schedule.
Oh yeah.
Right now between all the teams in the East.
And if you look at the team we lost, you don't blame those on Jalen. You bring in some on coaching. We have a first-year head coach, play caller, first-year defensive coordinator. These guys never done the position before. So I knew. And then you look at the first 6 games we played, all against playoff contending teams. So the fact that we made it out of there 2-4, I felt great about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted them to be at least. I said before the season started, like if we can go 3-3 out of those first 6 games, we'll be all right. Now we went 2-4. Okay, that wasn't exactly what I wanted, but we still were right there. You know what I'm saying? If we would have went 1-5 or something like that, then it would have been a problem. But the fact that we went 2-4, I knew after that the schedule was going to start getting easier, and the coaches finally get to understand and feel for what their team can actually do, and hopefully start putting them in the right position. We were all calling for the coach's heads a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, get him out of here. You should
call for his edge after the press conference.
Get him out of here. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not, he's calling 5 plays at a time. Every game it's like you're not running the ball. Come on. But as you see now, he realized he understands we have a physical team and some giant up front on that line, and we need to run the ball. So what did he do? Start running the ball. And look at our record. We're starting to win more games. We're the number 2 rush team in the league. That we don't already win against last week. The Saints number 1 rush defense has put up 250 on them. Yep. So it's like we got a powerful run game, and I really don't think that anybody left on our schedule is going to be able to stop it. We got Miles Sanders back. I know we lost Howard for this game, but hopefully he'll be back next week. And we got some good guys at receiver.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you have a quarterback over 6 games, let's just say, let's just pick a quarterback, and he throws for 115 yards, 236, 103, 162, 178, 147. Would you call him someone that's progressing gradually into the role to being a top 10 quarterback?
When he doesn't throw the ball that much.
Now, let's say he throws the ball 30 to 40 to 20, 34, 17, 23, 34 to, 24, 36. 26.
Who's that, Jalen?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say his last 4 was?
He was
17. I know that's right.
Going back to the Tampa game, 26.
You guys 26 last 4 games.
26 attempts.
Go to last 4 games.
Last 4 games, 24 attempts, 147. 23
yeah, but he had
attempts,
3 touchdowns.
178. But in a lot of these games were won a lot on the ground. But this is a guy that has all these yards.
And he reduced on the ground. He's a dual threat. You can't look at Jalen's number as just a quarterback. You got to look at both. His rushing ability, the way he affects the game rushing, and the way he affects the game passing. You can't just agree.
But my thing is this: you can't say that he's a big time quarterback and you can barely crack the 150-yard mark.
He's the first quarterback in our franchise that ever rushed for 3 touchdowns. Did you not see him on the field?
I see him on the field. I saw Randall Cunningham play at least 15 times in person.
3 touchdowns in the game.
No, but Randall Cunningham was a different type of caliber.
He's my favorite quarterback, Eagle quarterback.
Randall Cunningham, he does not get the he does not get the due that he deserves. I mean, he started getting more respect when he went into Minnesota and they had that big season, but then lost in the playoffs when they went 14-2. But he is, to me, Randall Cunningham was a guy that was more progressed. And I think, like I said, if you want to follow a career arc, I would hope that Jalen would follow something more like Randall Cunningham, who had his ups and who had his downs, who the Phillies fans turned on a bunch of times, who at times were.
I love Randall.
I loved Randall too. I loved Randall I hated playing against him. I loved him as a quarterback. Mm-hmm. But early on, he kept getting replaced by, there was a swap out between him and Jaworski. Hey, J-Ham, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. I forgot to repost it. So, Jam, if you see anyone, tell them to jump in. But like I said, I would rather, like I said, if you want to see a progression, I would hope that and like I said, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. I'm not bashing the kid. But I'm saying, you know what? Show me something more than 15 games, because if you're going by that status as well, Saquon Barkley is a Hall of Famer.
Well, you only can go about that. It's easy to say that right now because Saquon played more than that. You only can go by how many games
after the first 15 games. Would you not have said?
But I'm just saying that's all he's played. Like we can't even.
But I know. But I'm saying after he's
only 15 games in. Like that's why I like the argument of it, because like you can't even discredit the argument because he really has only played 15 games.
But
so far, for what
he's done, what would you have thought?
In yards,
but what would you have thought after his first 15 games? What would you have thought after Barkley's first 15 games, his rookie season? What would you have said about him? Not knowing what you know now, what would you have said about him at the end of that season?
I knew his injuries would catch up to him.
But no, I'm not saying you didn't know that.
Yeah, because he played. He played for Penn State. Miles Sanders. I told everybody Miles Sanders was a better running back than Saquon, and I still
don't think he's. I think he's going to be.
Saquon has so much wear and tear on his tread. Like he didn't have that much tread left on the tires after college. When you get the ball over 300, everybody knows running backs in college, they get the ball 300, 350 times a year. Yes, you might have great college stats, but you end up hurting yourself. You don't have very long pro careers because you got wore out in college.
That first season, though, by your logic, after those 15 games, what would you have said his career arc would have been, not knowing the injuries? You would have said that he would probably continue having this type of career.
Maybe after, like, the very first year, I was like, man, Saquon's going to be a pain. But
And,
the,
but
every
exactly.
year after he
So,
got hurt, so I've
but
been
you don't. But see, but
regressing that.
I'm saying eliminate that. Eliminate the fact it's 2019. The season ends. You see Barkley with his rushing stats, his 80 something catches, all of his touchdowns. Everyone in the league sat there and said, okay, he is going to be the next. He is going to be the next Barry Sanders. He's going to be the next Walter Payton. And then the wheels fell off the bus. Some of it has to do with injury. Some of it has to do with the porousness of the line. But the thing is, you have to, like I said, you have to wait more than 15 games before you anoint someone. Only because the fact
I like college football too, and I watched Jalen in college. It's like
I think he was great in Oklahoma.
Growing up, be like, he's a winner. That's what matters. Like, he's not that guy that's all gonna glamour you to death in stats, but he just is a winner. He's a leader. And he's gonna make a play.
I said that the other day. He's a guy that the team, and you can see that in Philadelphia. He is a guy that the team rallies around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not Daniel Jones.
No.
So it's one of those things. And I've said that about Jalen before. You could see in Philadelphia that his teammates like him and they want to play for him. And that's half the battle.
Yeah. That is half the battle. They know that's what Carson couldn't get through over here. But he's gone now, so whatever, whatever. PFF got screwed stats, okay?
He's actually putting that up because I hate Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, those guys.
I hate man. Pro Football Focus is like that and Next Gen Stats. I Next Gen Stats they don't bother me as much, but I
that guy ran 48 miles per hour. I know he did.
Yeah, that and $1.50 you get you $1.49 in today's inflation. Yeah, they mean nothing. I know, Zach. It's a joke, and you know how much you love bringing that up because you know how much I hate Pro Football Focus.
Yeah. So, what do you think the Giants have to do to beat the Eagles this week? Give me three.
Up.
Give me what?
Show up.
Cap.
That's all.
Oh my God!
I was gonna say get off the bus, but it's a home game.
How are you gonna do that?
Most were gonna drive there.
I want you to give me your 3 takes, or like, give me the 3 things the Giants will do to beat the Eagles.
Here's my problem. I actually predicted the Eagles potentially winning this game. I told you I'm an honest Giant fan. I'm honest. I'm honest to a fault, and that's probably why I'm not as popular as some of the other Giant YouTubers, because I say it like it is, good or bad, or right or wrong or indifferent. It's going to have to be things that we don't do well. And two of the things that we don't do well is we don't maintain our edge, because we really have no defensive ends. We have a problem. And I've said this going back to the Browns game, the Browns preseason game the Giants played. And the Browns built a blueprint to beat the Giants. It's off tackle left, off tackle right, off tackle left, busted up the middle, then go deep. And if you watch the teams play the Giants, that's outside of Tampa, that's what they've been doing, because of the fact that we cannot maintain the edge. We cannot hold the off tackle. We can't. I mean, it's just because we don't have the talent. We're more of a interior defensive heavy team. And I think when you have, now Howard is out, but you still have 2 quality running backs and you still have Hurts, I am concerned that we are going.
Scott, the Giant killer. You guys know
he
about
is,
Scott
man. You know what the funny thing is? Scott to me sometimes looks so damn slow, and he does that little pirouette, and sometimes you think he's still spinning, and it's like, how can you not tackle this guy?
Right.
I feel like I could tackle him, but he just goes. Fucking hate Scott too. Sorry. But like I said, if we cannot maintain the edge, if we cannot create pressure on Hurts, I think the best way to play Jalen is to put the pressure up the middle, which is something that we do well enough with Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. So I think if we can keep the pressure in front of him and stop him, kind of do what we did last year against Seattle and Russell Wilson, contain the edge, put the rush in front of him, keep the hands up so he can't see down the field enough to go deep, and try to keep the plays in front of us as much as possible on defense. And I think that our secondary has been playing better. Logan Ryan should be back. Xavier McKinney's been playing well. I think that we can do that well enough to hold them maybe to 17 to 21 points. The problem is, even with going over to Freddie Kitchens after getting rid of Jason Garrett. I'm not sure what the offensive philosophy is going to be. People forget last year Kitchens came in for Garrett when he was out with COVID in the Cleveland game, and the Giants put up 6 points. So I'm not sure if it's, again, like I said, we're going to find out if it was the offensive philosophy, which I think is dictated by your head coach and kind of goes down to your coordinators, or if it's actually going to be something that we can break out of. I worry about the interior of your line, defensive line. I think I can't remember what's the nose tackle that leads your team.
Fletcher Cox or Hargrave.
The guy's got, I think he's got 6 sacks or 5.5 sacks. I can't.
That's Javon Hargrave.
Yes, thank you. I think the interior of you're going to go up against Billy Price, who's been who we picked up from Cincinnati, and the nicest thing they could say about him in Cincinnati was he went from horrible to serviceable. And he's had his issues, so I worry about getting the rush from the interior, and because Daniel Jones has an issue, rolling out. But if our skill players play up specifications, if Saquon Barkley is healthy enough, we may be able to put up 24 points. And like I said, if we can contain Jalen, keep the rush in front of him, keep him between 17 points and under, I think the Giants can win the game. But I think it's going to be an uphill battle, and I'm hoping to God that it's not going to be another time where we wreck our retirement ceremony, because you got the retirement ceremony going on for Michael Strahan. That day. So
yeah, Strahan, man, he was a beast, man. He
was.
My boy Grant says, up to this point, give me 3 rookies that impressed you the most.
Azeez Ojulari, of course, with the Giants. Is going to be to me is impressive. He's come in with the ability to rush the quarterback. He has not been doing it consistently, but you know what? He is a guy that we have coming in right now. To me, that is making the difference. I really can't. Honestly, I can't even come up with 3 that have really impressed me outside of Ojulari. I'm just being honest. Like I said, I would like to. The biggest issue I have, king of the coverage sack. Yes, I
love Leonard because he's from USC. That's my team.
You're gonna hate this. I have a sound effect that I've been playing, and it's Leonard Williams, king of the almost sack, because of the fact that he almost. That last year when he only got a half a sack, he almost always got to the quarterback, and last year he got his 10.5 sacks by I think 7 of them were coverage sacks. So we changed it to king of the coverage sacks.
Hey, you get something. Don't mess with the big cat. You guys can let us have. I'll take the big cat.
I'll give him to you. I said don't give him more than $11 million because he's going to be an anchor, and he's going to be one of the reasons that $28 million contract is going to drag us down to 2022.
Ooh. Yeah, dude, we already got a couple of guys with big contracts at that defensive tackle spot. Maybe you should keep them.
I don't think you need it anymore.
Yeah, we don't need no more on that side of it. Okay. So who are you worried about the most? And don't say Jalen Hurts, because everybody knows Jalen is the number 1 guy. You're probably worried about the most. But give me like 2 offense, 2 defensive players that you worry about the most going into this game.
I'm worried about Smith. With Adoree Jackson and James Bradbury, I'm worried about Smith because to me it's the curse of the Eagle wide receiver. I still see Michael Quick beating the Giants on deep plays to this day. It's I get leery about that. and you got to feel bad for Devontae Smith because the poor kid looked like he was going to cry when the Eagles jumped up and took him because he wanted to be a Giant. What does that say about Philadelphia?
That says to be smart. We got the right receiver. That's what it says.
Good cheesesteaks. Link is a dump. Devontae Smith didn't want to go to Philadelphia so much that he cried. What does that tell you? But you know what? I worry about him because he's got that capability. He's got that extra gear. He has I thought he was potentially one of the better or best route runners coming out of the draft because I really did want him. I thought he would individually make a huge difference. And I think some ways that's exactly what he's doing right now for you guys. And I worry about Scott. What's not to worry about with Scott? And I worry about what's the other tight end you guys have? Dallas. Yes. The Giants have an issue covering the tight end, and we have an issue keeping the middle of the field open.
Exactly.
because the
We
fact that
want both. We do a mix.
yeah,
4-3
and I
sometimes,
worry about
3-4
them park. I
sometime
worry about you
hybrid.
guys parking the tight end
Hmm.
in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And I worry about that because we do have an issue, especially the way we play zone sometimes, that that there's going to be a problem. And if you're looking at defense, you got what's his name, the linebacker TJ Edwards.
Edwards has been balling.
Edwards has been playing out of his mind, and then you got the other linebacker, Singleton. Yeah, he's another one.
Been doing all right.
He's got more tackles.
Davion Taylor, but he got hurt.
Yeah, and Singleton's only started. You want to talk about playing limited games. Singleton's only started 4 games, and he's got almost 90 tackles.
Yeah, it was the first 4 games where he had a bunch of them. Like every week, he was getting like 10 to 14. Like, but the thing is, those tackles were like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? They weren't him going up and hitting nobody. That was him basically getting that. Like you said, what the Tampa Bay did against you guys. You said they kept just dumping it off. Well, it was literally a drive and a half of them just throwing the ball. Brady hikes the ball. Fournette sneaks right behind the line, the defensive lineman. Dump it off to Fournette, one-on-one with Singleton, over and over again. Singleton got the tackle, but he kept getting ran over. But how does no one know what the play is? We all know what the play is watching it, and they kept doing it because they just attacked Singleton.
We have a cornerback that he actually got hurt, and the thing was he was getting burned all the time. He wasn't getting burned, he was getting picked on. And the issue was, though, he kept making the tackles. And one of the things that I've said about it was the fact that, yes, they may be completing passes to him, but your job, if they complete the passes, to what? Make the tackle.
Yeah.
So it's the same with this kid. He may be not getting the tackles for losses, but he's getting the stops. And anything that especially in this league now, nobody knows how to tackle. Wow. Nobody, back in my day, it was you drive with your shoulder, wrap up, push with your legs, and push into the ground.
Everybody's scared of a flag now.
Yeah, now it's just you want to just check people out of bounds, and it's like it just doesn't work that way. So I think, and that's the other thing about the Eagles that I find interesting. They are, especially on defense, you guys seem to play more of a disciplined game in the ability to bring down the ball carrier and the ability to make the tackles, because you got a lot of guys that are in the 50s, the 40s, and the 70s in tackles. So that tells me you're and I've seen most of the games that you're swarming to the ball. And
you know why too? The tackles are really so high because those first 6 games we didn't run the ball, so it was like 3 and out, defense back on, 3 and out, defense back on, 3 and out, defense back on.
But the thing is, you're making the tackles, and that's the key, and that's something the Giants have had an issue with this season is they have poor tackling. They have poor technique on tackling at times, and I will give Philadelphia credit. Like I said, even if you're making the tackle 5 yards down the field, you're still making the tackle.
Yeah. Hey, you got to probably miss Blake Martinez back there. That's probably why.
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
Only slightly.
Just a little bit.
Only a little bit, but we'll be okay. He'll be back next year.
Yeah. Think that injury's going to affect his gameplay?
I tore my ACL twice in college, and the second time I tore my ACL, my MCL, my medial collateral ligament, and my meniscus and my mid meniscus. That was a career-ending type injury. Blake Martinez has an ACL tear, and back when I was playing in the late 80s, early 90s, you never came back from that. Now you can come back from an injury like this in 8 to 10 months. Mm-hmm. So his game is more predicated with playing in the tackle box. He's at times is a good coverage guy, but he makes his money doing the dirty work.
See, that's so what we need. We need one of those guys in our defense.
Yeah, everyone does. Everyone needs a lunch pail guy. He stays in the tackle box. I had a coach in college tell me, and he told me this. He goes, because I played linebacker and safety. He goes, he put me in the middle of the field and he says, this is your zone. This is your box. He goes, a yard this way, 2 yards this way, 2 yards this way, 1 yard that way. Your job is to whoever comes in here, you destroy. That is your only job. And that's what Blake Martinez does so well. He understands, but he covers the entire middle behind the line of scrimmage. And his lateral movement should not be as affected as Rodarius Williams. Thank you, Zachary. Greedy Williams' brother. That's a gentleman that kept getting burned. I couldn't think of his name, but he I don't think the injury is going to affect that because of the fact that he's not playing backwards. He's not backpedaling. He's attacking, and it's a lot easier to come back from that type of injury when you're attacking and not playing backwards.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, he's good. He's definitely a good linebacker. If you guys don't want him, we can trade you Fletcher Cox for him.
No, it's okay.
Put Fletch with the big cat.
Williams is going to be gone after next season.
You think so?
After 2022, yeah, he's going to be gone. His production is not equal to the value of his contract. He disappeared in Tampa, and last year he disappeared in Arizona and Baltimore after the Seattle win, where we needed momentum. He didn't even show up. And then he has stats where he comes in and he plays effectively, but he does not make the impact, or he's not a game changer. And that's his biggest issue. That if you watch him throughout his career, going back to the Jets, he only had one Pro Bowl season, and that was with 5.5 sacks.
Yeah,
but he can help limit the run. And the issue is the Giants missed Dalvin Tomlinson, because Dalvin Tomlinson, the defensive tackle, did all the dirty work in New York that allowed Leonard Williams to be freed to go and sack the quarterback and get the coverage sack.
Yeah, he's a big body anyway, so that's definitely helping your line out, regardless if he's getting the sacks or not. But that's how it is with Fletch. Like, you can't get paid that kind of money and not get the sacks. That's how I see it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to take less money, like $8 million a year, something like that, to be that run stuffer in the middle, then hey, you're doing your job. But whenever we're giving you that double digit, quarterback money, you need to be making like 4 or 5 sacks every quarter of the season. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you want to be paid like Aaron Donald, you need to play like Aaron Donald.
Facts. And there's only one Aaron Donald.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's not playing for the Giants or the Eagles.
Facts. Hey, we got Hargraves, man. Hargraves doing good. Even though he's disappeared over the last like 2 games.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can't make the he's disappeared, but you guys have won.
Facts.
Leonard Williams disappears and we don't win. So I mean, I'd rather have a guy that does not play well enough, but the team still ends up winning the game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. But I think he's gonna get some more sacks with this. I think Fletcher might even come on. You got right. Fletcher Cox only got 1 sack this year.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah.
Even though he's a great run stopper, a run clogger guy, whatever, but it's like, you need more sacks, my guy.
Yeah.
But I think this stretch is going to help everybody's stats out.
And he's only got 18 tackles in 11 games. So, I mean, he's not really making the tackles either.
We know Fletcher's not doing nothing, really. He's not even getting double team every play.
You keep holding on to him, though.
He's not even getting double team every play either. So, I remember last game, I was kind of yelling at the TV about it. I was like, hey, Fletch, you only got 1 guy on you. You got to patty cake with each other. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Those kind of guys, but sometimes that happens when you get paid. When you get that big contract, sometimes players' game go down a little bit.
I mean, like I said, that's why they call it the contract year. And that's why most players excel that season.
They say Giants are refusing to play Carter.
Now, Carter Coughlin got hurt. Carter Coughlin got hurt because he fell off the bench. He twisted his ankle.
Oh my God!
I don't know why they haven't played Carter Coughlin. Carter Coughlin is
who is that?
Carter Coughlin is a linebacker that the Giants drafted in the 7th round last year. He actually played fairly well towards the end of the season. He's one of the big reasons we won the Seattle game, because he actually held the edge against Russell Wilson and played and basically was in the backfield all game long. And he was projected to be a starting linebacker going in after the first 4 games of the preseason, but just hasn't played. I mean, there's really no reason, rhyme or reason why he hasn't.
What linebackers in front of him?
That's the thing. There's none. When we had to bring up Trent Harris. So I mean, they're just not playing. They're just not playing him, and he's, like I said, he is a guy that was projected to be something, And he's I don't know, it's just the coaching staff isn't playing him. He played well in the preseason too. He can't get out. I mean, I don't know. He must have did something to Patrick Graham, our defensive coordinator, because he just can't get off the bench. And then a couple of weeks ago, he twisted his ankle, and I made a comment on my show that he fell off the bench. That's how he got hurt.
Just riding that pine too long.
That's it, man.
Even off that note, like, you heard, remember Jalen Smith, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got cut from the Cowboys, and he went to the Giants, got cut.
Went to the Packers.
It got cut. Were you interested in him?
No.
Not at all. Why not?
Because probably for the same reason he got cut again in Green Bay.
Why do you think he got cut? I thought he was healthy.
He's healthy, but his game is limited. He is exposed in the passing game, and he's been getting one of my favorite phrases I say, especially if you're playing linebacker, is you can't get lost in the sauce, which means you cannot get lost in the pile. You have to have the maneuverability to kind of jet in and slash in to make the tackles by going around and through people. And if you watch Jalen Smith, he's gotten so much bigger since he came out of Notre Dame that he looks like a defensive lineman trying to play, or defensive end trying to play linebacker. And the issue is he can no longer attack the pile and find, Brian Urlacher
middle spot.
No, Brian Urlacher of the Bears was great at finding. I always call him a peekaboo linebacker because he finds those holes and he went after the ball carrier. Jalen Smith did that the first couple of years, especially coming out after the injury in Notre Dame. But right now he's just too big. He's just too slow. And he gets exposed repeatedly in coverage, and people were no longer afraid of him. They just run after him. And that's a bad that's a bad recipe for disaster, which is why they got rid of him so quickly in Green Bay, because they saw that immediately.
Yeah, I just think an upgrade's an upgrade. Like, I feel like even from what I've seen, he wasn't playing that bad, I didn't think, to get released. I thought it was more the injury. I heard people saying it was more of his leg injury. That he wasn't healed up all the way.
It's the same. He was healthy in Dallas. They just had too many linebackers, and they always say if you're a quality player and you're not injured, no one's going to cut you, even if they keep you as depth.
Facts.
The problem is he's not a quality linebacker anymore. I mean, his best. I'm not saying his best days are behind him, but I just don't see.
He's young still, right?
Yeah, he's like 27, 28. He's not old, but it's just like I said, I think he's gotten too big. I think he's been exposed from what he is in the league right now, which is why he's still not on a team.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'll at least bring him to camp, or like bring him for like a tryout or something and see what he got on the field. Yeah,
the problem is if no one's even picking him up for the practice squad now that you can sign veterans.
It's been a while now.
It's been a while. I mean, it's the league is basically shifted away from Jalen Smith. I mean, they've shifted away from him.
Dang. We've got a question here. He says, "You guys with the potential of 2 top 10 picks, who's on your radar?"
Beside Malik Willis, nobody. No. To me, it's too early to look at other skilled positions or any positions in the draft because of the fact that we don't know who's going to progress for the Giants right now. If you want to talk about positional drafting, the Giants need to pick up a linebacker. I mean, you figure you need a guard, you need any type of linebacker, and you need a defensive edge. You need a defensive end, and those are the 3 positions that the Giants are probably going to look at in the draft. And the
same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is that's going to that may change by the end of the season. You don't know. And also, to me, they
got 2 first-round picks.
They got 2. Well, right now we have 2 in the top 10. If the draft is right now, we have 2 in the top 10. So I mean, like I said, we'll see. Gettleman will probably be gone, so hopefully they whoever they bring in won't screw it up.
We always cross our fingers that Howell will be gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, I bet you all 32 teams on Thibodeau.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Oh, yeah. Giants will pass, though. The Giants will pass.
I want Hamilton, the safety.
I mean, the Giants
are upgrade at safety is like giving you a linebacker.
We have that already. And I know Peppers is going to be gone and he's injured, but Xavier McKinney, Logan Ryan, and Peppers are basically linebackers playing safeties for this team. Peppers, Ryan, and McKinney, basically, I think the stat was almost 60% of their plays or where they're playing is in the box. So they basically are playing quasi linebacker. So I don't see and plus you still have Julian Love in reference to bringing in some coverage. You got Darnay Holmes, who can also, he plays a slot corner, but he can also fill in safety a little bit. So I don't see the Giants going anything besides depth in reference to safeties.
And you said you want to see him get what would you say, the corner?
No, I right now we're fine at corner.
So just linebacker.
I would say linebacker, the guard position, and defensive end.
No quarterback.
No, I would take. I'm saying this is what we're going to do with the second pick, because the first pick's Malik Willis. So that is going to be one of these. Is going to be one of these guys.
Malik Willis in the G-Man uniform. That wouldn't be good. Well, he's a rookie, so it wouldn't be good a year from now.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, there's something up. There's something.
That doesn't scare you that he went to a small school.
He was at Auburn, and he transferred from Auburn because Nix, and I can't remember who the other kid was.
And Bo Nix isn't that great.
No. But so he transferred because he didn't want to keep competing for a position because they were using rotational quarterbacks. So he wanted to play consistency. So that's why he transferred to Liberty. And I always say, if you go to a school like Liberty, you need to be the best player on that field. You need to be a talent above everyone else. And that's what this kid is. If you watch him play, you can see, even when the talent around him is garbage, that he is well above the talent level that is around him.
And with me, it's like you got to perform against the really big schools that you play on your schedule.
Well, the problem is if you have no offensive line, no wide receivers, no defense, and no running backs, and you're the only player on the team, and you still somehow get your team to 7 wins, that's quite a feat.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. But the competition, like how many big teams did they play?
You know what, their schedule this year has actually been. They probably have played. Out of the 11, I think they played 11 games right now. They played 2 top 10 teams already, and they've probably played at least another, I would say 6 that were in the top 40.
And those top 10, were they blowouts?
They were blowouts in regards to the Ole Miss game was a blowout.
Mm-hmm. And the other one?
The other one was, I would say, it was not close till after the end of the third quarter. Kind of went downhill from there. But the kid was sacked 9 times because he, like I said, he literally has. They talk about Daniel Jones has no offensive line. This kid literally has. He's been sacked 16 times in the last 2 games. He's got 0 offensive line. I mean, I have seen some bad offensive lines in college, but this what it was. I think it was. I can't remember who it was, but there was an SEC team, and they had someone. It was actually years ago it was Kentucky, and Kentucky. It was after Gerald Lorenzen played, who went to the Giants, and the offensive line was so bad. I thought that was the worst offensive line I've ever seen in college history. I think Liberty is probably either that above that line or at least below that line that Kentucky had that year.
Wow. So do you think if the Giants doesn't do that and they get 2 linemen, do you think Daniel Jones will be good then?
Daniel Jones' biggest issue, everything has to be perfect. You have to have a clean pocket. You have to have a good passing window. You have to have a wide receiver open. It needs to be 73 degrees. No wind in the summer. And the summer equinox has to be over his left shoulder for him to consistently be a good quarterback. And that's the problem. I am concerned the fact that he has no pocket awareness. He has no presence in reference to the rush. I've never seen a kid that has no blindside awareness. I mean, 0 blindside awareness. I mean, and also now you've seen him before where he has no, and especially last year, he has no front awareness. There was a game against Arizona where he got wrecked by Marcus Golden, who came directly at him. he didn't even see it. He didn't even flinch. It's like he wasn't there. And I said this even during his rookie season. His awareness in the pocket is so bad. I was afraid that he is going to get killed because of the fact that he just doesn't sense. Eli Manning used to go down like he was shot.
Yeah.
He would just, all of a sudden you would see him, he would just go to the ground. And then you would see the lineman go over him. This kid just takes shot after shot, and it's scary that he just doesn't sense this, and he doesn't yet understand still. If you watch Tom Brady on Monday, Tom Brady always knows how to step up in the pocket. He knows how to climb the ladder when the rush breaks down. Daniel Jones hasn't figured that out yet. He'll fall into the rush, which causes, he holds onto the ball too long, which causes most of his fumbles because he has bad ball security. So, I mean, I think you could put around, I think you can get Anthony Munoz, get Jonathan Ogden, get everyone else around him, and he would still have issues completing certain passes.
I know I got a nickname from him. I didn't want to throw it out there, so I've been respecting the Giants content.
I call him Danny Dumpster Fire.
I call him Danny Food Stamps.
It's good. Yeah.
He's not worth $1. He's not worth a dime. He's not worth a penny. He's Danny Food Stamps.
I got it. I got that. I have no problem with it. I called him Danny Dumbass the other day. I mean, I got a lot of nicknames.
What year is he in now?
He's in year 3.
So next year is his last year.
Well, he's got they have to decide whether they're going to pick up the option in year 4 for year 5. But yeah, he's in year 3.
Do you think they're going to pick up the option for him?
I am concerned that they're going to. I have concerns that they will, and he'll be paid well.
You said you guys don't have the money to go after like a Russ or Favre. I mean, not Favre. Rodgers. Or
no, we don't.
Watkins.
We don't even have close to the salary cap next year. No. It is going to be so bad, the cap next year. I mean, I don't know. I did a video that, like I said, they have 43 players and they have $212 million in contracts up against a $208 million cap. And we did a video where we broke down and we released a bunch of guys and got down to 33 players, and we only had $16 million in cap space.
What?
And last time I checked, you needed 53 guys.
You say you released 16 players?
We released 10. We went from 43 to 33. And we only counting the dead cap space money, we only had $16 million in available cap space.
Hey.
Yeah, it's bad.
That means you guys are over right now.
Oh yeah, right now we have 43 players and $212 million in total contract value against a projected cap space of 208.
So that's like $4 million over right now.
Yeah, right now. And we only have 43 players under contract.
So then next year, you got to get under the cap, so you're going to have to cut somebody for sure. But see, that's not that bad. Howie took us from $70 million.
The problem is,
and we got free agents this year.
The problem is most people don't remember we're going to have 2 top 10 picks. So you take the rookie pool for those contracts, and that automatically yeah, but they're not going to probably be top 10. That's
hopefully one of them will.
Well, if you have salary cap issues, you don't really want to be in the top 10.
I still want one top 10 player. We need an elite player.
That is one of the worst scenarios to have, because that money is guaranteed, and that money immediately comes off the top of your cap.
Well, one of them. I want one of the 3 to be a top 10. We need an elite player from defense side of the ball. I
think you need to get the 30th, 31st, and 32nd.
Well, if we continue our run right now, we're going to get like a 20. And we're going to be in the playoffs.
I'm not talking about that.
The Colts, what? They're like 1 or 2 games out of the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Carson keeps playing. I think he got to play like 1 or 2 more games.
Yeah.
And that's a sudden done deal. We have their pick. And if they win, they're like 1, 2 games out of the playoffs. We have like a 15, say like a 15, 16. And then our pick could be like a 20, 21, you know. And then if the Dolphins would just do their part and lose.
I'd worry about the Dolphins losing. I've been talking about the Dolphins now
They've
for
been playing better.
4 weeks, and I said, you Brian Flores, you knew his defense wasn't going to be that bad for that long, and they're starting. And if Tua can turn it around, then they're not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be that team that playoffs teams are people that are on the bubble.
Yeah, I said it, playoffs.
Yeah. He's doing his Jim Mora.
Playoffs? Yes. The Eagles will be in the playoffs. We're one game out. I don't think we're one game out anymore after that last one. Yeah, I think we are one game out.
One game out. Yeah.
For some reason, it still said the Saints were 7, I think it was, and we just beat them. And we got the same record.
Yeah,
we have one more
guys
loss.
You're listed as on the bubble.
Because we haven't took our bye yet, too.
Yeah.
And all those teams took their bye already, so they have
So right now, technically, yeah, you're not in the playoffs. You're not. Yeah. You're. I believe you're also behind Minnesota.
Yeah.
At this point in time, so there's a couple teams ahead of the Eagles, but right now, yeah,
with the same record basically.
Yeah, you're basically considered, like I said, it's called on. They're considered on the bubble teams.
No. So after we beat you guys this week, and then we go beat the Jets, we be off the bubble by the bye.
Listen, you're gonna beat us at checkers. That's about it. You're not coming into MetLife.
Like I just want to tell the Giants fans, like, I respect you guys, but you might want to go get the broom because the Eagles gonna be sweeping. I told you.
I thought we were gonna be mopping up the Eagles.
My prediction, right? Eagles this season, before the season started, before any of it, before the crappy coaching, before not running the ball, before all that stuff, I said Eagles. My very first video I made, actually, it was Eagles 11-6, right? Then I started drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, yeah, this team got me pumped. We're going to go 13-4 or 12-5. But I always left the floor. But the floor would be 10-7 because I just don't believe Jalen Hurts will lose that many games in the season. So we're still one game from the floor. And I don't really, we just hit our stride. So I don't really see none of these teams beating us.
Well, like the broom is going to be out because the Giants are going to be cleaning up the tissues off the Eagles sideline because, all the tears that had me crying when Graham Gano-Matic kicks like 18 field goals and we win the game 24-12.
What? What? For real? You really think that you guys are going to beat us this week?
I told you I don't.
No.
I don't think we're going to win.
But do you think you're going to win one of the two games?
Yes. I do think that.
And you don't think it's the home game? You think you're coming?
I don't think it's the home game. The Giants, for some bizarre reason, play better.
We only won one home game this year, so
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. The Giants play better.
That's why I think it's going to be the away one.
Yeah. So that's why I'm thinking it's going to be at the Link.
Yeah, division games can go either way, though.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the momentum that we got. I'm not worried about. Like, if Washington had their full defensive line, I'd be a little bit more worried about those guys. They're missing Sweat. They're missing Chase. So that makes their defensive line a little worse. Yes, Heineke playing a little bit better, but I'm not worried about no one in our division, really. And then if we lost to the Jets, then somebody need to get fired.
Yep. Oh, I know. All right. Well, I'm being paged.
All right, my guy.
That's my cell phone going off here. Oops. That's FaceTime going off here. Let me decline that. So. All
right. Well, you still have time to do the all-time team.
All-time team is going to be that's easy. It's going to be the 86 Giants. That was the team, of course, with our first Super Bowl win. But you had Harry Carson's, Lawrence Taylor, Carl Banks, Reasons, Pepper Johnson, Leonard Marshall. You even had Steve Diassi. You had a team with backed up by Phil Simms and a wide receiver selection of unknowns. And, sitting there with little Joe Morris running, all 5'7" for 1,500 yards. It was a team to watch. It was a team that after the Giants got beat by the 85 Bears in the playoff game with the whiff punt by Sean Landeta, it was a team that was exciting. It was a team that was fun, and we were just ready to move into the next level. And like I said, the 86 was just the pinnacle for the Giants in the modern era, not going back into the 50s, the 50s and the 60s, and even into the 20s.
And who's your favorite coach?
You got to go with the tuna. You got to go with Parcells. I mean, Parcells literally almost got himself fired in 83 because when he went 3-12-1 by listening to everybody. And he even said, going into the 84 season, I'm going to do everything my way. And what he did is he took the team to 9-7. He turned around, got them to the playoffs for the first time since 82. And then it was, what is going on here? I got so much shit going on here. They got, since the first season, since 81. And he showed what a giant organization could be that we hadn't seen in decades.
Is Eli your favorite Giants quarterback?
Phil Simms is. Phil Simms was my first generational quarterback. Eli Manning was my second. Like my father's giant quarterback was Charlie Connolly, and a couple other old and Y.A. Tittle. So he was like the first guy that when I was watching the Giants when they drafted him in 79, that he was the guy that I followed. And I always laugh because I always do my Pete Rozelle when they drafted him, because they barely had an ESPN on 79, so it was always like he comes up to the microphone and goes, "The Giants select quarterback Phil Simms, Morehead State," and all you hear is, "Oh my God!" Because nobody knew who the hell he was.
Man, hey man, thanks again for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. We definitely gonna talk about some stuff, off camera or whatever. But go ahead and let everybody know we got 20 in here. You guys, please go and subscribe to Online Big Blue if you have not subscribed to these guys. He does great Giants work. You guys watched the episode. You watched the show. You've seen this guy in action. He's putting out that fire content over there. If you're a Giants fan, subscribe to BIRDGANG 31. I do lives every day of the week, pretty much. I'm out here grinding. I'm a new guy in the field, but I'm out here grinding. So subscribe to both channels. They're both inside the chat. Also, BGN Sports Media is our NFL channel that we got going on. So make sure you guys go subscribe to that as well. Go ahead and give everybody your last thoughts and score predictions and where they can find you at.
You can find me, of course, at Online Big Blue Sports Entertainment on YouTube. You can find me at Online Big Blue 1 on Twitter. And I have this one being 24-21 Eagles.
Nice. I like that one. I can't even say nothing wrong with that. I'll give you my score position before we get out of here. I think the Eagles are going to destroy the Giants this week. It's going to be 35-14.
It's a possibility.
But it could,
I don't think you're going to
drop
that much on the D, but it's a possibility, yeah.
Well, everybody, you guys have a great Turkey Day. You too as well. You have a great Thanksgiving, my guy. Thanks again for coming on. Like I always say at the end of my videos, fly, Eagles, fly. And until next time, this is BIRDGANG 31, and we are out. Peace.